getting this very important TG4 All-Ireland Senior Football Championship relegation playoff underway, and it's Katie McGrath who gets it immediately from Karen McGrath. Katie Murray, rather, from Karen McGrath. Kellyanne Hogan, number 11, gives it off to Hannah Power, and she comes forward, and this is McGrath now. There's two McGraths. Kate McGrath is the number 2 from Kilrasanti Brickies. Karen, of course, from Ballymacarbery. And Monaghan immediately setting in there and trying to sit deep and then trying to pick Waterford off, but they found a way to get round them, it seems. No, that door has been closed a little bit for Karen McGrath. She's going to have to come back out, but there are options here. And that is Kellyanne Hogan with the first effort at goal, and beautifully put over the bar as well by Kellyanne Hogan, also from Ballymacarbery. She missed the penalty against Donegal, but she certainly was on target there. Good start, and from the kick out, it's an interesting one. It's Monaghan going short to Rosemary Courtney, who's been their captain in Muireann Atkinson's absence, and now there's plenty of room out here for Abby McCary from Scottstown, and Scottstown have 4 representatives. Oh, and there's overcarrying against her. That won't help the nerves of this young team, and they take it quickly. Lauren McGregor giving it into Kiva McGrath from St Jude's, and that's an intelligent ball. Well, I thought it was intelligent. I thought it was going to be a pass across goal, but she actually hand passed it straight into the net, so that won't be given. But a nervy start, Emma, for Monaghan. Yeah, nervy start for Monaghan there. Turned over and overcarry there in the full back line. Big press from Waterford, which looks to be a feature there in the full forward line, and unfortunately for Kiva McGrath there, the ball just didn't pop over the bar. Well, was she going for that, or was she going for a pass? But either it didn't work. No, that's the number 6, Courtney. She's got the sleeves rolled up. That's a sign of intent, and she's driving her team forward. Well, it was her team as captain the last couple of games, and she's certainly a leader again today, even though Atkinson is there. And in fact, Rosemary has continued her run way off into the left corner position, even though the ball has gone over to the far side. Aoife Burns. And although the ball isn't coming over there, Rosemary took a few players over there, but now she's going to have to run to get all the way back. And that is going to be a free in for Monaghan, and it's their, is it the substitute, or not substitute, but the player who wasn't named to start? I thought I saw a 20-something. Is it not Kiva McGrath, is it Breed McMaw, is it then? Yeah, I think so. Looks to be okay though. Interesting running here by Courtney, all the way out here on the left. So your thoughts early on? Yeah, Monaghan have set up quite defensively. You can see that Waterford have left 2 people forward. They're going to do the full press back as well. So it'll be interesting to see how quick they can get the ball out. Waterford, I think it's going to be the speed of them getting the ball out is going to be interesting to see how it turns out here. Well, that's exactly what they're trying to do at the moment. They had 3 or 4 players back there against 1, so inevitably they won it. And now they are trying to break quickly, but yeah, you're right, you really have to break quickly. This is not quite as fast as you would like, but the important thing also is to keep possession. They've done that. I mean, you have players like Kellyanne Hogan, who's on the ball now. She put one over a minute ago, and she will fancy it from distance, especially as she's found her range. Might get in closer though, and here's a possible goal effort, but it's blocked down. That was the number 13, Katie Murray, going through, but it was blocked down. So Monaghan doing their job well there in defence. Bit of a breeze out there as well. I was down there on the pitch earlier on. The breeze seemed to be with Monaghan, so Waterford's Kellyanne Hogan deserves great credit for that point she got into that wind. But it's Monaghan pressing forward now with Lauren Jones getting it forward to, I think that was Hannah Sherlock, and this is Burns now, and she's through here. You know, she might even get a chance at goal. It's Muireann Atkinson actually, and she's going to get a free, but good driving forward, and you see the influence that she has brought to this game, and they've missed that, and it will be important today. Yeah, direct running there from Muireann Atkinson. There's actually space in there for Monaghan. So if they, it's just a little bit of head up there, but great running from Muireann, and free opportunity now here for her. Yeah, she won the free, and now she's going to take it. Shouldn't be a problem, and isn't. Monaghan level, and that will settle them, and they'll be so much happier as a team just to have Muireann in there as well, especially after that shaky start at the other end, and the block at the other end will have done them good as well. Now, the kick out is the goalkeeper who's just come in, Katie Gagan. Where is she going? There's no one near her, unusually, so they're having to run to her. They do that, and that was actually Murray going for it, a very obvious push on the back. But the press is obviously also obvious.
Yeah, it's very different kick-out strategy. The Monaghan goalkeeper was straight out, ball kicked out within 5 or 10 seconds. Waterford taking their time with the kick-outs and allowing Monaghan to settle.
Now, number 9 for Waterford is Anya O'Neill. It's a good effort as well. Has it got the legs? It has indeed, and that's a super point as well. And it's 2-1, and Waterford hit straight back. And elsewhere, I can tell you that Donegal are leading Dublin by a point as well. Geraldine McLaughlin with the first score of that game. That was just to annoy you, really.
We're looking at 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's a long way to go. I remember, was it a game last year? I think it might have been at the same stage, and Geraldine got a goal and a point, I think, early on, and Dublin still came back and did them. But back to this game. Muireann Atkinson now looking lively and strong and prepared to take on the Waterford defence. She's already got a point from doing that, and she may have created another one because Rosemary Courtney is coming through. Lots of blue jerseys back. Oh, off the post. Very, very unlucky for Hannah Sherlock there. And what's obvious there to me, Emma, is the number of blue jerseys back there. Waterford are still playing this high work rate game about getting lots of players back.
Yeah, Kate McGrath actually made probably a 100-metre run to get back there. She actually had sprinted from her own forward line all the way back, and she picked up the loose ball. So it's Waterford are putting up very high intensity levels.
Well, it's going to be a long afternoon, and it's going to be demanding. And I see someone off camera throwing water on as well. They're all going to need that as well. But this is like a championship final, really, because it's do or die. Loser goes down. This is it. So these teams giving absolutely everything. This is Kellyanne Hogan coming forward, looking for the return as well from Breed McMaw, but she goes the other direction. Comes back now to Hogan, but she slips it to Anya O'Neill. Can they find a way through? That's Annie Fitzgerald putting inside to McGrath, getting it back as well, and she's nippy, isn't she? She's speedy, but good defending. Monaghan back there in numbers, and they just saw that one coming, and there they get it out to Aoife Burns. I got her mixed up actually with Muireann Atkinson a few minutes ago. They look quite similar. Shona Brady. This is Lauren Jones driving forward through 2 or 3 players. That's brilliant. Now gets it to Atkinson. Really lovely play, swift play as well. And they're getting in behind here maybe. But Waterford have just done to Monaghan what Monaghan did to them at the other end.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a swarm defence. There's 5 Waterford players back for two Monaghan attackers. And the defence come out on top.
I wonder, is this just because Waterford have become used to it the last few games, or just a cautious thing? But they're certainly not throwing caution to the wind and going forward, but it does seem to be making for an open game, and that sort of work that the players have been putting in, I'm reckoning this game could level up and open up in the second half especially. That's what happened last week between Westmeath and Cavan. So big pitch, warm afternoon, and lots at stake as well. This is going to be a demanding afternoon. It's a very interesting first 8.5 minutes or so, low scoring, but I do feel it will open up. Emma, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. So the Waterford backline are actually interchanging between who's attacking and who's coming back. So the end-to-end isn't on just 1 or 2 particular players. So they're doing a great job. They're just swarming around Muireann Atkinson and who's the biggest threat there from on in the forward line.
But look at the amount of blue jerseys around her. Every time the ball comes up there's about 6 blue jerseys there. But now they are speeding forward with Megan Dunford from Abbeyside in Waterford. She's the only player from that club in the starting 15. She gets it to Lauren McGregor, and she gets her free. You know, when you go round their forward line, they've a very talented forward line overall, whereas you'd look at Monaghan and think, well, they've 1 or 2 in there that we know, and others who are not as established, shall we say. But Waterford, I mean, the talent in that forward line, McGregor, Hogan, Kiva McGrath's up there now, Katie Murray. I mean, it's a very talented forward line, so that's why they're favourites. But it's 2 points to 1, nothing in it really.
No, and the ball's going to drop short there. So ball dropping short there from a simple enough free. So it's been a bit of a tetchy opening, all right.
Monaghan's turn now. It's their turn to try and get forward. This is Brennan, number 4 on her back, but she likes playing wing back. That's where she's played before, and she likes attacking as well. And that's a nice change of direction to give it to Atkinson. Atkinson, a really good target player in there. And now the bright yellow boots of Hannah Sherlock. She comes inside, and that's really nice work and a really nice move. Not such a nice finish, but it'll give them a little bit of confidence, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that they're getting the shots off, they're out in front, and they're actually winning ball inside in the 13-metre area is quite positive for Monaghan. So just a little bit of settling might actually be in order, and just a bit of calmness and before getting the shots away.
But they can certainly take confidence from their start and be thinking, well, we're still well in this game. We're not getting hammered here. We are going to be well in this game, and things are working out so far. But this is Waterford now trying to build from the back, playing it through the hands. Good running off the shoulder from Hogan all the way back there, and then a nice ball, and there's a little bit of space there for McMaw. Murray runs ahead of her, so she's got options as well. But it is Monaghan who are playing at least just as defensively as Waterford, but there's an effort from McMaw, and that's not going to go over. In fact, it's going to go to the left and wide, and again Monaghan will be happy with that. Elsewhere, it's now Donegal 2 points, Dublin 1 point. Hannah Curl with a free for Dublin, a curled free from a wonderful kick, it says here. So that's 2-1 for Donegal in that game, and it's 2-1 here as well. That's Monaghan's turn to build through the hands from the back. Brennan is available as she was a minute ago, as I say, number 4, but she's played 7, so anywhere along that left side, and she's speedy and determined, and that's brilliant running, and she's dictating to Colleen Jones as well to go ahead. Jones gets it, Brennan is going to get it again, and this is good work and sensible as well. She will hold on and not waste possession and just pass the parcel. And it was Abby McCary all the way up there. So 3 and 4 up there. 13 has gone back. That is Lauren Garland into a defensive position. This is Casey Traynor, one of 4 Scottstown players. And this is Amy Garland with a shot, and it's gone over the bar, and that's the second point for Monaghan. Their first from play, and they will be more than happy, I would imagine, with the first 12 minutes, Emma.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a little bit of calmness, a little bit of possession holding, putting the ball around the 45. And an excellent score there from Amy Garland off her right foot.
This kick-out strategy is interesting. If our camera comes out a little bit more, we'll see where she's trying to go with it. The camera's just showing the goalkeeper, but now you can see the rest of the players, and you see there's a turnover here, and it's Muireann Atkinson, the captain. She's dropped it onto the ground, and I wonder, is that a foul? The referee has a good look at it, but says no penalty. She was looking for it, and I wonder, we might even get another look at this. We will get another look at it. She's going through. Tackle comes in there and she just drops it. Referee says nothing wrong with the defending there at all. What do you think, Emma?
It's definite shove in the back, I think. She got a bit of a shove in the first tackle rather than the second one. A bit of a shove in the back, which kind of knocked her off, just as she was about to take the shot initially. I
suppose the referee's angle was from right behind that, and he maybe thought, well, she just lost the ball, she dropped it, and she was over carrying maybe.
Yeah.
And that's why she dropped it and then couldn't get her kick away. Anyway, they decide to dispense with the short kickouts and just go long, and it works for them because it goes straight to Kate McGrath. And among 3 white jerseys there, she wins it. But Monaghan have got it back. McCary, the fullback. There's another Monaghan player, Aoife Burns, with the sleeves rolled up, and that is exactly the way they have started the game, with the sleeves rolled up. They mean business today. They're not going to give away their senior status after 30 years easily. And they're playing, as you say, composed football as well. This is Laura Walsh, number 8, and gets it out now to Colleen Jones. And they work it into Atkinson. She is the go-to player every time, and she shows her awareness and strength there, and always prepared to take on defenders. 2, 3, and then she loses it and is looking at the referee again, but the referee says no. But Atkinson always prepared to go straight at the defenders and cause them trouble, and she has caused them some trouble. But it's Waterford breaking now, and a lot of Monaghan players have committed, and there's a chance here for Annie Fitzgerald from Galtier and Dunmore East, and she gets it to Kellyanne Hogan. Kiva McGrath is an option, but it's Fitzgerald who gets it again. They're just trying to get a little bit closer, and they're trying to get in behind, and they have got in behind, and that was good work by McGrath to get it to Karen McGrath, the captain. But in the end, Monaghan repelled that attack, and good defending once again. Threat is there, but we have only had 4 points in the first quarter of this game, and yet there's been so much attacking intent. It's a really strange one, but that it could of course change any minute. They've both been low scorers in the championship, and that is reflected in the score. But they're certainly both, for me, Emma, going all out to try and score.
Yeah, they are, and I think the referee's letting everything flow quite nicely as well. You know, in another game you might have actually had a few whistles there, but he's allowing the kind of the good physical tackles to come in, which is great to see, and it's providing kind of end-to-end football.
And it is end-to-end, and it's Waterford's turn now, but both sides mirroring one another. Now Hogan did this earlier and got a point out of it. That one dropped short and could have been dangerous. Karen McGrath was up there but couldn't get it, and it was actually really good defending by Lauren Garland, who's back in the team today. She's a twin sister of Amy, both from Donamoyne. They're obviously delighted to have her back. And now it's Monaghan's turn to break, and their tails really are up. You can see their confidence building. They've had some bad experiences this year, but you can see today they're putting all that behind them, and this girl is making a huge difference as well. Atkinson trying to get it into Sherlock, but that is well defended by Waterford, and it is they now who will break. I mean, you said it, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it really is end-to-end exciting stuff. And this is Katie Murray, and she's got her free.
I think it's about 4 minutes since we had a whistle, so that's the first.
It's intriguing though, it really is an intriguing game, and as you say, the referee is doing really well to just let them go at it. This is number 10, Lauren McGregor, and there's a chance now for McMaw trying to get through, and she's going to be penalised because she ran into Shona Brady, and it is the girl from Castleblaney, the number 2, who is down, and there will be a card there. So the whistle has gone now, and there's not a card but a tick there. So 16 and a half minutes in, and we'll see it again here. McGregor turning and twisting, doing really well actually. And it wasn't McGregor actually who ran in, it was McMaw who ran into Brady.
Just got her slightly high there as she turned his shoulder, and unfortunately that's barging.
So this is a TG4 All-Ireland Senior Football Championship relegation playoff with a real championship feel about it. 17 All-Ireland final appearances between them, these two, which is quite incredible. Monaghan played in 9 All-Ireland finals, only won 2. Waterford played in 8 and won 5 way back 91, 92, 94, 95, 98. Lost in 3 of them. Haven't been in a final in 22 years, seems a long time ago now. Monaghan have been in the final as far back as 2013 when they lost to the great Cork team. They also lost to them in 2008 and 2011. And Monaghan also go way back. Their first All-Ireland final was 1994 when they lost to Waterford. So that's just to underline and re-emphasise the tradition in these two counties. And a lot of these girls, if not all of them of course, weren't around then, but they'll have been reminded about it. They know that it's in the families, in the county, and they will know that they do not want to be the one team after all that goes down, but one of them is going down today. Now it's Murray getting it to Hogan, and every time Murray and Hogan are way back there prepared to do the hard miles. Hogan gives it off to Katie Murray. This is Anya O'Neill from Kilrasanti Brickies. This is Katie Murray coming inside, looking to offload it, does so. And will she take a kick at it? No, she's going to come back out as well to Hannah Power. It was the number 2, Kate McGrath, up there. She's adept at playing in the forwards as well, but when you say forwards and backs, it doesn't really matter these days, because all of the players, bar 4 or 5, are all up in that half of the field. Monaghan just prepared to sit in there, and Monaghan are in an unusual position for them, because they're usually quite a bit behind at this stage going by their games this year, certainly in the championship. So they'll be happy there. 2 points all after 19 minutes, and that's Waterford trying to find a way through. They've picked off 1 point from play early on from distance, and they've tried to get in behind a few times, and they've looked like they were going to get a goal or a goal chance, but it just didn't materialize. So that's why there's no goals in this game, and it's still very, very close. They come back out to O'Neill again, and she tries one after a lot of passing, but in the end it went well to the right. So frustration for them and encouragement for Monaghan. Now let's look at Monaghan's kick out. What is Orna Kelly going to do here, the goalkeeper from Carrickmacross? Again, if we can come a bit wider with our camera on those kickouts will see the movement, because it is very interesting and so important. And that's number 11, Kellyanne Hogan again, and she might have created a bit of a goal chance here because McMahon's in there again. Brilliant blocking in there, and I think it's Courtney, it is Rosemary Courtney this time who has blocked in. Monaghan very, very determined today, really, really on the ball. Their tactics seem to be spot on, and this is Brennan coming back, and it's Waterford getting closest, I think, to goal, but anytime they get too close, Monaghan snuff it out. So their plan's working, Emma.
Yeah, absolutely, and Monaghan are doing really, really well. They're organised in defence. They forced Waterford to play the ball around the 45 and forced a long shot. They did turn over their own kick out, but the excellent block in there from Rosemary Courtney. It's committed defence, and that's what's on top at the moment.
There was one interesting point, Emma, that Pat Sullivan made during the week, the Waterford manager. He said Waterford are way fitter, and that's been shown in the last few games because they've played Donegal and Cork and gone really close to them. He reckons they're way fitter than Monaghan, but I guess Monaghan might have something to say about that. It's not like they're not going to be fit as well at this stage of the season, but it may well come down to that fitness.
Yeah, and both teams are looking fit and athletic. There's a lot of end to end up and down the pitch. So fitness might tell in the end, but Monaghan have been chasing games, which also enhances your fitness as well. So it's all fairly relative at this level too.
Now again, if our camera can come a little bit wider, we'll see where this is going to go. I want to see the movement, not just around where the keeper is, but beyond that to see where it's going. That's the interesting bit. And there it goes way over to the right. She's forced to go long, but they do get possession from it. That's the important thing. And now Monaghan are on the break and they're looking for movement, and as usual they have Sherlock up there and they've got Atkinson, but instead of putting it straight in there, they have run the ball, and that is Casey Traynor winning a free, so that's worked quite nicely for them, and they could even get into an interesting position here of being in the lead. And I think the last time they were in a lead in a game, ironically, was against Meath. They scored the first point that day, but it was their only point off the game. But Muireann Atkinson, who wasn't playing then, of course, has come out now and is looking to take this one, and it's quite a distance out, but she obviously fancies it. I thought there was a little bit of a wind going that way when I was down there before the game, and she's dead centre as well, and she struck it well. She got it on target. Oh, it's just come off the post. Very unlucky, and it's gone wide as well, and a chance missed there definitely for Monaghan.
Yeah, and something is low scoring. That's both teams have actually put frees off the post. So when something is as low scoring as this, every opportunity like that counts.
To be fair, it has to be said, Waterford have missed a lot up at the other end. They need to get that right, because their manager will not be happy with that as well. They've tried to be patient, but in the end they've sort of snatched at it, and they've hit at least 3 or 4 pretty bad wides. But they've a chance now to do something about that, because Kate McGrath is up there and there's room in the middle. Oh my goodness, how is Kiva McGrath there? Absolutely on her own, no one around her, and she's just going to walk around the keeper and put it in the net. So unusual after all the blanket defence we have seen. Who was marking Kiva McGrath? She just stayed in there. We saw her doing that for St Jude's. She plays for the Dublin club in the All-Ireland Club Championship to do that. No one near her, and she said thank you very much.
Again, is it? You just look after that, I'll look after this, okay? I think it's the graphics drivers. wonder, that happened shortly after you did a replay. I wonder.
For Monaghan, so it must have been a substitution for Monaghan. 22, is that what you just spotted as well? Jane Drury is in. Jane has been playing a lot recently around the middle of the field, and she didn't start today, but she is in there now, so a change by Monaghan. Apologies for suggesting it might be a card, but I just saw a player go off, didn't see anybody come on. But Jane Drury in now for Emma Clerkin is a change for Monaghan, and she's very good around the middle, good young player, and has been impressive in a lot of their games. There's a point for Waterford, stretching their lead to 4 points, and that is Lauren McGregor from Dungarvan, also has captained NUIG in the O'Connor Cup this year, scored a goal against Cork, and she's got a point today, and that stretches the lead.
Great work there from Kiva McGrath, just very calm and patient, took out 3 players, and a great score there from Lauren as well.
On the Monaghan change, what do you make of that, Emma?
Well, it looks like Jane has gone in as kind of a half forward in around the middle of the field as well. So maybe actually putting long balls into her. She's quite a physical player. So putting the kind of long ball strategy might be coming from Monaghan, I think.
Waterford going well now though. 2 points each after about 19-20 minutes, but they put a bit of daylight between the teams. They have been dominating. They have had most of the chances. They have got it sorted out at the back, as Monaghan haven't really had a sniff in the last 10 minutes or so. But Waterford missing far too many for their liking. Donegal 3 points to 1 up against Dublin, by the way. 25 minutes gone. It says it's been a super first half from Donegal, but I imagine that is another case of blanket defence if Dublin have been kept to 1 point after 25 minutes. I know people were writing off Donegal going into this game, but it's so different when you get a situation where it's backs to the wall. Never mind the group stages. When it comes down to it, teams will give absolutely everything. So very interesting there. I'd imagine Donegal have looked at that and said, well, we'll just put everyone back and frustrate Dublin. And it seems to be working so far. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, was it last year even, and Tyrone, who were going quite badly, played Dublin and kept them, in fact led them. Now here's a goal chance for Waterford. They might get another one, and it's lashed to the net. Really well worked. Waterford starting to cut loose now. That's their second goal of the game, and it was well worked. And Kiva McGrath again at the centre of it. She's been so influential, and it was Lauren McGregor. A goal against Cork, another goal today. That's a second one, and that could be the goal that sends Waterford into the senior ranks again next year.
Yeah, excellent work again from Kiva McGrath. Herself and Lauren McGregor really linking up well. That's a goal and a point in a couple of minutes through their link-up play. So excellent finish to the roof of the net as well.
Donegal now leading Dublin 4 points to 1. Geraldine McLaughlin with a score. So 26 minutes gone, and Dublin have only scored 1 point. That's a very interesting situation there after they've been going so well. It's Waterford now looking for another one, and it was a corner back hit McGrath all the way up there. And Monaghan, after doing so well for the first 20 minutes or so of the game, have let in a couple of goals. But to be fair, Emma, the threat had been there.
Yeah, definitely the threat is there, and just Kate McGrath's a corner back. I wasn't sure she thought she was going to punch it, catch it, but the goalkeeper came out and did well there. But the goal threats are now in there for Waterford, and the game is really opening up.
Now, what can Monaghan do? Lauren Garland, who's wearing 13, but doing a lot of good defensive work. Monaghan trying to break. They've been hit by a couple of goals. Need to get something back here. It's 2-3 for Waterford. 2 points for Monaghan. They need to get something on the board. Just the 2 points This is Hannah Sherlock. She's had a frustrating day there because there's been so many blue jerseys. Rosemary Courtney takes responsibility and flights over a lovely score. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. And Monaghan have got their 3rd point of the game. That's leadership.
Yeah, that's a leadership score. That's it. If Monaghan are going to turn this game around, it's from the likes of Rosemary Courtney that are going to need to lead from the back to the front. But excellent score over the shoulder.
They go short this time with a kick out and get it to Kellyanne Hogan. She goes so deep for the kick outs, and that's why she's transferred it beautifully, and she's got it up to McGregor, and she's got space in front of her, and Monaghan are scrambling to try and get back, but Katie Murray now is off the shoulder, and she is going to get a point as well, and that's what you call a classic counter-attack, and that's how to beat the blanket defence.
Yeah, the 2 players actually stepped off Lauren McGregor there and actually allowed her to kind of go out and win the ball, and they stepped back to kind of nullify the goal threat, but probably one of the players should have gone with her really and at least put a bit of pressure on her with a great pass out and a great score from Katie Murray.
2-4 plays 3 points now. So those 2 goals, the big difference so far. 7 points in it. 10 plays 3. Coming up to half-time, and the goalkeeper is going for a bit of a run. And that's Orna Kelly. And it's worked out nicely because Kiva Brennan now has it around the middle. But this is where Monaghan have been coming undone a lot. So Muireann Atkinson has come all the way out to midfield to get a bit of possession. They have been trying to get it into her, but she's always surrounded when she's in there. So she's come out and got her hands on the ball, and now it is Monaghan a little bit more composed, and they're trying to get a little bit of room in there. And this is the sub who's come on, Drury, and she's got help there, but went herself and was blocked down by Emma Murray. There's been a lot of that in this game, a lot of good blocking. And I see number 19, did I see a 19 out there as well? I think it did for Waterford. I'll come back to that in a second. Let's go back with the play. If that is the case, then there's another Murray on the pitch. Now, it's good counter-attacking once again by the Dacia. This is Kiva McGrath. She's caused so much havoc with those 2 goals, using all her experience and guile in there. Oh, there's a goal chance in here. Keeper comes out and just does enough to stop Karen McGrath from getting in for another goal. It's half time. This is Aoife Burns, number 7, going forward with intent, giving it to Muireann Atkinson. And she's dispossessed there. That's good tackling. And it's number 21, Breed McMaw. What a brilliant turnover for Waterford there to get the ball away. And that's exactly what Pat Sullivan, the manager, will be wanting more of in the second half. And they're going to hit them on the break. The counter-attack is on because McGregor, she got a goal in the first half. She has it now. She's dangerous, and that's Murray. But Murray has run straight into the number 12, Amy Garland, and that is a free out for Monaghan. Number 6 is Rosemary Courtney. And just in front of us down below, Sharon Courtney. And to see Ryan McInnesby in the crowd as well. So Monaghan getting support here in Bray in County Wicklow in this important game. Let's see if it helps them. This is Brennan. Loves to run forward with the ball and did so in the first half with great intent and creativity as well, but they just didn't get enough scores at the end of it, and that has been the problem. Casey Traynor now, number 11, trying to go forward, but again, frustration there. Trying to take it quickly, showing a little bit more urgency at the start of the second half. They come back out to Colleen Jones, into Courtney, on to Garland, one of the Garlands. This is Amy Garland. Her twin sister Lauren is 13. Waterford looking to frustrate Monaghan again, just to keep them out. This is Laura Walsh for Monaghan. Big strap on her right thigh. She's been out for a while, back in today. They really need everyone today, all hands to the pump, but they're having to be very patient right now. And that's a good switch of play by Muireann Atkinson. Emma Murray has dropped deep in as an extra player. That's dangerous though, and they all seem to watch it, and it bounced there and there was no one to take advantage. Keeper in the end did well there, but it was certainly one of those ones that was just too high for the fullback and too low for the keeper, but they kept it out. And now Waterford will try to hit Monaghan on the break, and they'll do that more and more because Monaghan will be forced to throw more and more players forward, but that goes straight to Brennan. She's got support there from Abby McCary. That's the fullback from Scottstown, and this is Rosemary Courtney into McCary. Waterford really well set up, as you would imagine, as they always have been with Pat Sullivan. That's a good ball though, and there are lots of blue jerseys around, but Jane Drury will try to do something about that. She's been hounded there by 3-4 players, and they switch the ball quickly. There's room in the middle here actually, and it is the number 12, Amy Garland, who has stepped into it, but again the door shuts very quickly, and this could be the pattern for the second half. Monaghan trying to find a way through and ending up shooting like that and being blocked down. That was Laura Walsh who got a bit frustrated there, and it's Waterford now breaking, and Monaghan with a lot of players caught up the field, and this could be the problem for Monaghan. They commit to going forward, but then they get hit on the break, and the guile of Kiva McGrath again there, but that time the 1-2 didn't quite work, and Abby McCary has it, and McGrath chases after her, but McCary will just hold up possession. Interesting start to the second half. Something has got to crack. Will it be Waterford at the back? Will Monaghan get through and get a score and tie this up, or will Waterford get a score and really kill this game off? That's where it is at the minute. Waterford are holding back there and keeping Monaghan out whatever way they can, and that way was illegal, so it's going to be a free, but they are trying to keep them out, and Monaghan are having to chase this game, Emma.
Yeah, they are having to chase the game, and I actually wonder, is Laura Walsh carrying an injury? She came out with a really big strapping there on her right thigh in the second half, and she was involved in the attack in the first half, but it wasn't chasing them back, which is unusual for her, and it allowed Waterford to chase back there. So look, Monaghan are going direct, but they're going to have to be direct, but you know, Jane Drury in there is actually winning primary possession as well, so it's just about trying to get a bit of a return off the possession that they're winning.
2-4 for Waterford, 3 points for Monaghan. Claire down injured at the moment. The door was rather abruptly closed there, wasn't it? And it's a free now to be taken by Atkinson. They need something, but only 3 points on the board for Monaghan tells a story. In their last game they scored 4 points against Armagh. Previous game 1 point against Meath. Previous game 5 points. So you see the trend. They need an even break. They might have had a penalty in the first half. Emma thought they should have had, but can they get a point? That's going to drop short, and it's going to be taken by one of the fullbacks in there. In fact, it might have been McGregor all the way back there, was it?
I think it was McGregor, yeah.
Yeah, got the goal right at that post in the first half, and now she's back there defending. In fact, it's not McGregor. Thought that was asking a bit too much. She's actually way up the field. It's not her. And it's actually the number 6, I think it was. Was it Laura Mulcahy back there? Sorry to Laura Mulcahy for mixing her up there, but it was her in the end that we give the credit to. Waterford on the break with Katie Murray. She's got options either side now. This game opening up, and it might just suit Waterford. They're in no particular hurry to get forward, but they might find more room up there, and the kick comes in from Kellyanne Hogan. She got the first score of the first half, and she's got the first score of the second half. Really good point from distance, as the first one was, and it's now 2-5 to 3.
Yeah, excellent score from Kellyanne Hogan. She's an excellent long range kicker, and taking the little bit of space there that she got to her advantage.
Now this is Aoife Burns coming forward for Monaghan. They have lots of possession around here. You see another crude interruption, shall we say there, and lots of blue jerseys back, and this is the number 22 Drury trying to find room and giving it to the corner forward Sherlock, but look how many jerseys are there. Incredible work rate, and maybe Pat Sullivan was right about the fitness and the work rate of his team. And this is Atkinson, and she's having to fight off challenges just to get a kick in, and eventually it goes wide, and it's a frustrating afternoon for Monaghan. They just can't get through, but you have to give credit as well to Waterford.
check, see how much space there is on the hard drive, please. On the hard drive. Like how much space there is.
Well done, Casey.
Okay, and the recycle bin's empty and stuff like that. Mark, the only thing I think that's happening here is the video drivers are wrong. I sent Padder a link 2 weeks ago. I don't know if he checked it or not. But that's not for today. I'll send it on to you as well.
Very well done, Casey. Look at Lauren. Look at Lauren.
Let me know if you need the score. Uh, 3 points to 2-5. That's us for Waterford are leading.
That's a yellow card, but I think she was on a couple of ticks anyway. So
Elsewhere, it's now Dublin 2 points, Donegal 5 points. Hannah Tyrrell got Dublin's first score from play after 31 minutes, but guess who? Geraldine McLaughlin has made it 5-2. Fascinating game there, and it's fascinating here as well.
So referees, nice spot from the referee.
Go back to the default.
Well, I was hoping that Amy Garland was okay, but sadly it looks like she's not going to be able to continue. So one of the twins for Monaghan having to go off. They have 15 players, Waterford have 14, but they are losing Amy Garland, it would seem. So a substitute has come in for Monaghan. I'll try and figure out who it is for you. So they have an advantage, and well, they've fresh legs as well for at least one player. And she goes off, it'll be they who resume with Abby McCary. 21 is in for Monaghan. That is Jodie McQuillan from Castleblaney. That could be significant because Jodie got the winner earlier in the season in the league. in, I think it was the game against Cavan, the only game they've won all year. And she also is the only Monaghan player to have scored a goal this year in 7.5 games, and that was a penalty against Kerry. Very fine minor player. She was on that team that won the Ulster Minor Championship last year. So this could be an interesting point in the game, and you know, I know I'm trying to give Monaghan a little bit of hope here, but maybe that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. She's gone straight out into the middle of the park. A very tall player as well.
So something else for Waterford to think about. And would you believe it? Yvonne Bonner has blasted to the Dublin net. Donegal 1-6, Dublin 3 points. Could be a major shock on the cards. Dublin did lose to Donegal earlier in the year in the league, so Donegal might say it's not that big a shock, but I think it is on current form. People were telling me last week that Donegal, they're not going well at all. Going well today.
Very much so.
As are Waterford, and again frustration for Monaghan. They just can't find the range. Very disciplined, very strong tackling at times by Waterford, but boy is it effective. And Monaghan tried to mirror it and managed it for 20 minutes until it caved in and they didn't watch the player on the square. So maybe it's a case, Emma, that Waterford are more used to playing this way.
Yeah, I think Waterford are just calm and collected in what they're doing as well. You know, they're quite comfortable in playing this type of style of football. So Monaghan now have to chase the game.
Now, this is Annie Fitzgerald for Waterford, and she's got lots of room in front of her, and that is the case now for Waterford, and she's looking to feed it through. And it's number 14 who's in the play now. That's Aileen Wall, and she gets a point as well and stretches it to 2-6 to 3 points, and they are finding more room there, Emma.
Yeah, plenty of space inside there for Aileen Wall, and a great score.
Now, Monaghan trying to get possession through Colleen Jones, but the decision has gone the other way. Now, I know we're not watching the game, but your thoughts on a goal by Yvonne Bonner? I mean, people were talking to me the other day saying, well, that Donegal team's finished and there'll be a lot of retirements as if they were going to get beaten by Dublin. But Yvonne Bonner, formerly Yvonne McMonigal, I mean, what a player, what a career, and to come back at this stage and do something like that seems like an incredible comeback by Donegal, or an incredible performance by them, as Waterford get another point there, but that's a shocker for Dublin.
Yeah, no, it is, absolutely. And, you know, anybody writing off that Donegal team is, you know, they shouldn't be. They mightn't have had the greatest of group stages, you know, the performances haven't been where they wanted them, but you know, they're league finalists this year, and they put it up to Meath in a league final. They beat Dublin in the semi-final, and there's always a great game in Donegal. So, you know, there's like some of the most the best players in the country are playing in that Donegal team, and if the score stays the way it stays, it will be a big shock. But you know, not wholly surprising either.
Now, this is Rosemary Courtney for Monaghan, trying to get her team going. They spread the play out to Aoife Burns. But as always, there's just not enough options ahead of her. So she goes on her own, but is having to go across the field. Disciplined defending again from Monaghan, or from Waterford rather. So they try a kick pass to try and take out a few of the Waterford players, but doesn't really have an impact. And Murray is there to tackle and apply the pressure, and there's 3 or 4 behind that. They're just keeping Monaghan out of range. Now that kick is coming in, and there is a point in case they just don't seem to be able to get the range or the accuracy because they're under so much pressure, and the defending is just so organised. The Monaghan substitute coming on. They really have to just throw everything at it now, and it looks like the numbers are so small on the Monaghan jerseys actually, and from a distance she's way over in the far corner. It's hard to see it, but I did see Aileen Wall in the play there for Waterford. She's come in, and now it's a Monaghan change. Can you spot it?
I think it's 18.
Good eyesight. If it is, that's Emma Corley in the play. So Monaghan looking for something very special, but it's Waterford in the driving seat. It was number 5, Colleen Jones, who's gone off for Monaghan. But for Waterford, this is 18. This is Chloe Fennell, who's come into the play. She's another substitution, and she has drifted that one, looking for it to come in, and just didn't come in for her. And another wide for them, but they've been a bit more accurate in the second half, and they've got a good lead now. 2-7 to 3, and it's a 10-point lead with 14 minutes to go. Kick out for Monaghan, and she goes looking for Abby McCary and finds her very well, actually. Orna Kelly gets the ball back, and Waterford will let her have the ball there all day long. And way off camera I can see two Waterford players just dropping really deep inside their own 45, and then they'll be joined by a few more girls coming back as well. They really have this system down to a T, Waterford. Last game of the year for these teams, and there's Murray getting in there. That's the number 18, Aoife Murray, doing a lot of good work. And there you see the tiredness coming in as well. That was a little bit slack from Monaghan, and Waterford very quick to pounce. They are 10 points up, and this could be the nail in Monaghan's senior championship coffin, because Murray has had it. She leaves it off, and there's a chance now, and it's McGregor rolls it into the corner of the net, and surely that is the goal that sends Monaghan down to intermediate, out of senior for the first time in 30 years. They have hit Monaghan on the break, and Waterford are coasting here to victory and to staying up themselves in senior.
Yeah, great running from Emma Murray, really, really incisive running, fast transition there, and Laura McGregor very calm, just rolls it to the bottom of the net.
Substitute for Waterford, Annie Fitzgerald, has gone off, and I see Monaghan making a change as well, and I think it's Hannah Sherlock, who has worked really hard up front where she's been outnumbered, trying to get some joy, and just hasn't been able to get much joy at all. Now that kick out has gone straight to Waterford hands, so they could be on the attack again, and Monaghan have not scored in the second half, but Waterford are starting to score quite freely, and that's dangerous, just dropping to the left. 3-7 to 3 points, and that's Monaghan's problem, isn't it? They just aren't scoring enough. 3 points today, 4 points the last day, 1 point the previous day, 5 points the day before that. That's the problem, especially when you come up against these blanket defences. For Waterford, Karen McGrath, the captain, has been replaced. They are 13 points up, and the sub on the field is Maria Wall. So the Walls are now on the field, as is number 26, and that is Sheena McGuckian from Kilrasanti Brickies. So lots of changes going on at the moment. And number 18 from Monaghan, I see, yeah, Emma Corley, we got that one already, but trying to follow them all and trying to follow the play as well, but it looks all over for Monaghan.
Yeah, we have another injury, another head injury, it looks like, so I'm coming off, or a bit wider than that. No, I got a picture of Dominic, but who wants that?
The drama is happening elsewhere, I can tell you, because Karen Guthrie has scored another goal for Donegal, and they lead Dublin 2-6 to 5, 7-point lead after 47 minutes. And Mayo lead Cork 1-5 to 2 points, a goal from Sinead Walsh for Mayo. Arguably that's an even bigger shock.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one that was being kind of discussed the other day. Mayo, you know, very much depleted by their AFLW players not being involved, and Cork had just been tipping along quite nicely. So if we could be in for a weekend of shocks.
Well, it's only 13 minutes gone, and Orla Finn has scored. It's 1-5 to 4, so 4 points in, and Cork were 4 points down to this Waterford team and came back and won extremely well. So that's very early in the game, but the Dublin game very late on. And I would imagine that would be the end of that management team possibly for Dublin if they lose there. They've been around a long time. They came back to get their cup back, and they might still get it back, but at the minute they really are up against it. Here it's Monaghan staring relegation in the face. In Bray, Muireann Atkinson trying to hit the target, but it just floats to the right and wide. A day of complete frustration for Monaghan. Just the 3 points on the board. Another change for Waterford. The cornerback Hannah Power is going off, and she has been replaced. Trying to see the number for you. Can't see it just yet, so we'll just go back with the play. And number 20, I see it now. Number 20 for Waterford is on. That is Laura Cusick from Stradbally. Waterford looking to break again. Don't believe it. Donegal have another goal. 3 goals. Unbelievable. Dublin heading out of the championship. Drama. Here, it's Waterford on the attack yet again. Lots of room on the far side, and I spotted the number 9 over here, Anya O'Neill, and so did they, and she's got lots of room. She'll come in on her right side, will she? Eventually, yes. And gives it inside now to McGregor. They'll come back out, and Waterford starting to enjoy themselves. And there's another point for Kellyanne Hogan, and that makes it 3-8 to 3 points with just 8 minutes to go. We are playing the clock down here. Waterford are going to stay up, I think we can say that now. And we can also say that Dublin are in a lot of trouble. 3 goals they've conceded, and what's that now, a 10-point gap?
9-point gap.
9-point gap in that game with 7 minutes to go. Wow. Just wow.
Yeah, you definitely don't see that kind of a gap coming, but it would have been it's a big shock.
Well, if you think in the league game, in the semi-final, was it Clonus and Dublin were winning about 4 or 5 points. Donegal hit them with 2 goals at the end. You have to hand it to Karen Guthrie, though, and Yvonne Bonner. I mean, those 2 girls have been around so long.
Stalwarts.
Fantastic servants.
You know.
But just superb athletes, superb footballers, and they're just, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but they sound like they're rolling back the years. But Monaghan cannot roll back the years. They have hit yet another wide, and this is really petering out. Such a disappointing day for the Farney County. Though I have to say, Emma, we were talking about this earlier off camera, and you know, they have a lot of young players coming through, but I guess it's what happens when a lot of players who have been established leave the scene all at once. But it doesn't mean that Monaghan are finished by any means. You know, it might even do them good to go down to intermediate. It might suit them at the minute, but a lot of good young talent in the county, and it just needs time to come up and come through. But this is Muireann Atkinson trying to do something about it. She's done her level best today, so they've been unlucky as well. She's been out with injury. Sorry, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, look, and the intermediate championship is very competitive, as we know, but it might give Monaghan just a bit of breathing space to bring through those excellent minor players coming through, to give them that game time and game experience. And it's a different type of football at intermediate that's played. You know, it's not as defensive, although there are defences that, you know, come out on top, but you know, it tends to be more free-flowing, and players can express themselves that little bit more. So it's not, you know, it mightn't be the worst thing for Monaghan to actually have that rebuild at intermediate level next year.
This is good busy work by the number 18, Chloe Fennell, trying to engineer something. Gets it to Aileen Wall, to Mairead Wall, who have both come into the play in the last 10 minutes or so. And Kellyanne Hogan has done that so many times today. I think that's 4 points, maybe 5 by her this afternoon, all from play. And she really is an expert at that. Played for UCC this year. She had a terrible injury last year. I remember when they played Tyrone, she missed that game, so it's good to see her back from all of that. The girl from Ballymacarbery, shining light today in this victory for Waterford. I think we can say now 3-9 to 3 points, free for Monaghan, but they're a long way back in every way.
Kellyanne Hogan has been excellent today. An exhibition in long range kicking, and her incisive running as well has opened up Monaghan a lot of the time, so she really has been excellent today.
Monaghan playing, of course, to the end. Casey Traynor, Jane Drury making herself available, but so has Muireann Atkinson. Strong challenge coming in from Megan Dunford, but she gets away. Dunford comes back for more. There's a chance now for the centre half forward Traynor again, and that really sums up the game. They just can't get through. Brilliant defending.
No, there's a little bit of panic now in the Monaghan attack. You know, it's trying to walk the ball into the net. There was a couple of options there to the left if the head had been raised.
Now right down in front of our position. That's good work by Lauren McGregor, and they're just so adept at the minute on the ball. Waterford playing full of confidence. They know they're going to win this, and they're just working it through, and there might be a goal here to finish it off. Chloe Fennell, tackle comes in from the goalkeeper to stop her, and goalkeeper does well, but still might be a goal at the end of it all. And eventually. Chloe Fennell, saved on the line. Denied after all of that. Doesn't really matter, but a bit of goalmouth drama. And in the end, Katie Murray back on the play after her sin bin puts it wide. 3-9 to 3 points. It remains. Cork have narrowed the gap as we thought they might against Mayo. They've brought it back to 1-6 to 7 in that game. But Dublin, Donegal now has less than 4 minutes left, and it's 3-7 to 7 for Donegal. You know what I'm thinking? Isn't it funny? Armagh clearly wanted to avoid Dublin if they got as far as the semi-finals, and Dublin ain't going to be there. It's going to be Donegal in that semi-final who will play the winner of Meath and Galway.
Yep.
And on the other side, it's going to be Cork or Mayo going through from their game, and Mayo making a really good start. Cork coming back at them there against Armagh or Kerry. And I know it's a cliche, but that means it's going to be an incredibly open and interesting end to the senior championship, Emma.
Yeah, it's going to give impetus to every other county. Everyone's kind of talking about Dublin Meath semi-final. Whoever comes out of that, it's theirs to lose. It gives impetus to every other county that's in the other six, in the other three quarter-finals today. That Brendan Martin Cup, you've no idea where it's going to go now.
You would imagine Meath should be the favourites, but they haven't been firing quite so well recently, have been looking a little bit tired, but Dublin have been looking like the unbeatable team. They've been looking absolutely formidable. We saw them against Cavan, and of course it's a big gap between the likes of Cavan and playing the really top teams in the senior championship, but for them to be caught like that, I guess it says a lot about the way the game has evolved. And if you set up your defensive structure, which we don't like to see, but it's there, and it's going to continue like that as long as that is the way teams are able to play within the rules, of course. And that means that everyone's going to try and copy that and just play this sort of blanket defence thing and hit teams on the break. And if you master it, as we've seen today with Waterford, it's very, very effective. Yeah,
if you're playing a blanket defence and you've got effective forwards, there's no reason why you can't actually win games. And that's what's happened for Donegal today. And we're seeing it here with Monaghan, effective, very pressing defence, and they've got a return at 3:10 today on the break. So it's very similar football.
But it's fascinating. This Waterford team we're watching here, they ran Donegal really, really close.
Very close.
And Donegal now are hammering Dublin. Well, that's a little bit unfair, I guess. They've worked out a way to beat them, and they're beating them well, and it's worked for them today. And you look at it like that and you think, well, Waterford are playing in a relegation playoff. Donegal are one step away from an All-Ireland final now, so it's a levelling out, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it just goes to show that the beauty of the ladies' game is that it's actually so unpredictable at times. And if you can get the tactics right and get your efficiency levels right, there's no reason why any team can't actually win a game of football.
I mean, if you're sitting in the dressing room in the next hour or so, in the Kerry dressing room or the Armagh dressing room, you're looking at these results and thinking it's right there for us.
100%, 100%, and particularly, Kerry is another kind of extra specialty bit for them. They'll be hurting that Armagh wanted them over the other side of the draw, So there's a lot of impetus there for many teams today to kind of say, well, look, it's now wide open. We can win this. Look at Meath last year.
And this Waterford team today will be looking at it and saying, well, we've scored 310 today so far. We were very close against Cork, very close against Donegal. They led Cork by 4 points. They should really probably have beaten Donegal, and they'll be looking at it next year and think, well, never mind this relegation thing, there's nothing much in it, and we can really go for it next year. We could be the next Meath, but sure, everybody thinks they're going to be the next Meath, I suppose.
No, I mean, Waterford have been hit by injuries and that type of thing as well this year, so I think if Waterford actually have a full panel going into next year's championship, and they've now got time to prepare as well, because we've got with the split season, it gives county teams that little bit of time to regroup a little bit more and prepare for next year. There's no reason why Waterford can't compete.
They certainly look good today, though it can sometimes obviously come down to the opposition not being very strong today, and that's been the case with Monaghan. Very young team and more young players to come in as well. They will come again, there's no doubt about that, but it's hard to get back to senior too. I mean, Waterford went down I think in 2008, and it took them a long time to get back up, but they are going to retain their senior status today. Katie Murray back in the play, leaving it off to Kate McGrath, and that's going to be a free in. 3-11 they've scored, and that might make it 3-12. Monaghan have got up to 4 points as they got exactly that the last day as well. Such a proud history in Waterford. They'll be so pleased to stay up. In fact, I was looking, Emma, at a few things last night and found out that Waterford had club championship football in their own county 3 years before the LGFA was set up. So in 1971 they had a championship final, so they were there before nearly everybody else.
Yeah, they have such a proud history, you know. They have such a proud history in ladies football. It's good to see them stay up, and hopefully just give them a little bit of a chance to kind of rebuild now throughout the summer and into the winter months, and compete now at senior level next year again.
It's their 8th game of the year and only their 2nd victory, but they've been quite close in a lot of those games in the league and the championship, so they'll feel that they're maybe not too far away.
Yeah, no, absolutely not, no.
And they've certainly shown that today. And at this level it's about your system as well, and they certainly have a system out there, and it's working for them today, and that's part of it, you know, fouling in those sort of areas. I mean, that's not an accident.
No, absolutely not. And this is the conversation you and I had about, you know, the areas to foul are becoming more and more prominent, and, you know, taking those ticks and, you know, giving your team a chance to reset. And, you know, Waterford are, you know, they actually stuck to their system today, that we weren't expecting them to really stick to their system, but they did stick to their defensive system. They broke out when they could. Monaghan were difficult to break down for 20 minutes, but once they got that first goal, it made Monaghan actually put an extra player forward, opened the gaps up for Waterford, and they exploited them very much.
It certainly worked. Look at the scoreline, 3-12 to 4, 21-4, a 17-point difference. That's Jodie McQuillan finishing with a point for Monaghan, and that is their 5th point of the game. She's one of the young players that they hope will be coming through for them in the next few years, and it'll have to be in the intermediate championship. Goalkeeper Katie Gagan, and that's going to be a free in for Waterford, or for Monaghan rather. I keep getting mixed up in this because every time I see white I think it's Waterford, and of course they are wearing navy.
And
both teams usually wear white.
And the goalkeepers are wearing bibs, and
that's right. Right, Waterford, have they got one last break in them? The Murrays, as usual there at the 4, but that's been turned over by Abby McCary, getting it to Jodie McQuillan. Now, can Monaghan get a goal right at the end? That would be something for them. They've only scored 1 goal in the entire year in almost 8 complete games, and that was a penalty. If they could get something here, it would give them something, at least a little bit of consolation. But as usual, there's a lot of navy jerseys there, and Rosemary Courtney is having to rethink. No diving in, just sitting in there. And the kick eventually comes in and hits the bar and goes over. Well, at least that means that Monaghan have gone to 6 points, and that's their highest score in the last 4 games in 1 game. So that's something for them, a little bit of consolation, scant consolation. 6 points place, 3-12. Referee blows his whistle, and Monaghan have dropped out of senior championship for the first time in 30 years. A proud county with a fantastic tradition. They have played in 9 All-Ireland finals in that time at senior, but now they're going down to intermediate. It might be a good thing for them with that very, very young team. They've been well beaten today by Waterford, and it's they, also with a proud tradition, who will stay at senior. And to be fair, this is the way the results were pointing over the last while, that Waterford would survive. They have done it with room to spare as well, and I see some of the Monaghan stars of recent years, like Sharon Courtney down below me, just making her way away from this game, and I'm sure she's disappointed, but at the same time realises that this is just where Monaghan are at the minute. Your thoughts, Emma Murphy, to sum it up and maybe pick a player of the match as well?
Yeah, and it's obviously a disappointing day for Monaghan. You know, they are going to be still playing. They're playing Division 1 football down in the intermediate in the intermediate championship. Gives them a chance to rebuild and bring all their minor players through. Good day for Waterford, retaining their senior status, very important for them. And they were very impressive today. Once they got that first goal, they just kicked on from there. It was excellent, and they had some really standout players today. I thought Emma Murray's incisive running was fantastic. Laura McGregor at 10, she had 2 goals, and she was involved in everything that was really positive for Monaghan as well. And Kellyanne Hogan as well, brilliant, great long range kicking. But on the kind of balance of play, I'd probably go for Laura McGregor. I thought she was excellent. I thought her involvement she was involved in all 3 goals, scoring 2 of them herself, and a really kind of bright light there for Waterford today.
At the back, I mean, really, if you're going for a player of the match, you could nearly just pick their entire defence and pick it as a player as such. Yeah. It's hard to pick out one player because they all just do a job in there. It's hard for a defender to stand out to get player of the match. I mean, you're picking out quite a few of the sort of forward players there, but in defence, I mean, they all just back each other up, but they're so effective, and not one stands out. But I mean, I suppose you couldn't pick one. I mean, Megan Dunford, I suppose, she's been excellent in there, as always in there if you had to pick one. But what I'm trying to say is that they were probably the winning of the game, that area.
Absolutely, and she did a great job on Murray Atkinson, and Karen McGrath was great in there, kind of sweeping up and picking up as well. And I suppose it is the sign of the times with the kind of blanket defence. You could actually give player of the match to all 6 backs and the goalkeeper at times. So they tend not to kind of stick out, but it was kind of that transitional play out of the back line from Kellyanne and from Emma Murray in midfield. Anya O'Neill again workhorsing again, kind of more in a defensive role, but they were that transitional play forward, and when they got forward, they were clinical in taking their scores as well. Eventually, the first 20 minutes, they had a significant amount of wides, but that reduced for the final 40 minutes, and they had a great return at 3-12. So definitely I think picking all-stars and players of the match win the back line is going to be a significant challenge over the next few years, as backs tend not to stand out as individuals, more as a unit. So that's something that we really should be taking into consideration.
So just to finish, the Monaghan players walking off there disconsolate, getting a round of applause from their family and supporters, but they are going down, and that's Sharon Courtney in the shot there in the foreground to the left, and she of course played in 3 All-Ireland senior finals for Monaghan up to 2013, but since then it's been kind of downhill. She's out there with Rosemary Courtney, the number 6, and just commiserating, and Monaghan going down. It might be a good thing in the end for them, but it is Waterford who are staying up. And I guess just to finish, Emma Murphy, the story of the day is defences on top here, and also for Donegal beating Dublin and knocking Dublin out of the championship. A sensational win there, but I presume that was down mainly to a blanket defence as well.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of in the highlights. Blanket defence, Donegal breaking, getting kind of the breaks of the ball, and being clinical in taking their goals. And the goals they're making the match there. Dublin got a goal back in the last 10 or 12 seconds before the end hooter went, but our game is becoming more and more defensive. Unfortunately, we kind of have to come to terms with that as well. And Donegal today were extremely impressive. Getting the balls into their clinical forwards, and their forwards are clinical. So, as we said, with blanket defences, if you've got a blanket defence and you've got forwards that can hurt you, and you've got runners that can actually get the ball out of defence as quick as extremely quickly, then you'll get the right of return at the other end of the pitch. Yeah, it's an interesting day. We were predicting a shock somewhere in the quarterfinals. I hold my hands up. I didn't expect it to be Dublin. I did predict that maybe the Meath game might be an interesting shock, but it opens up the whole championship at senior level, which is great. Look, it keeps an interest in the championship. It means that it's not a foregone conclusion, and we've now got Donegal into an All-Ireland semi-final first.
Absolutely, and we have that scene now at the end with lots of Monaghan people in there commiserating. They are going down out of senior for the first time since 1992. 1982 when they won the All-Ireland Junior. They came up then and stayed up, and Waterford players walking through the crowd there. They are walking their way through to senior in 2023. They will stay up. Monaghan are going down, and generous applause there for both sets of players. So contrasting emotions here at Bray Emmets after this 2022 TG4 Senior Championship relegation playoff. But that's where it is. The final score, 3-12 to Waterford, 6 points to Monaghan. We hope you have enjoyed the coverage. Not a cracker of a game, but tells its own story. Waterford will stay up, and they will be a threat next year in the Senior Championship, which just gets more interesting by the day. And it certainly will be over the next 3 or 4 weeks after today's results. We hope you enjoyed it. From Bray, it's goodbye.